of the jury, the defendant, and all counsel. The state may call its next witness.
State calls Esteban Flores.
You spell your first and last name?
Esteban, E-S-T-E-B-A-N. Flores is F-L-O-R-E-S.
Right. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Your name, sir?
My name is Esteban Flores,
Who do you work for?
the City of Mesa Police Department.
And what do you do for them?
I'm currently assigned to the homicide unit as a detective.
Drawing your attention back to June of 2008, where were you assigned?
I was assigned in homicide.
And did you have occasion when you were assigned to this unit to investigate the killing of somebody by the name of Travis Alexander?
Yes, I did.
With regard to that, what were your duties or what were you assigned to?
I was assigned as the lead case agent for this particular case.
Lead agent, what are you required to do?
Respond to the scene, investigate the actual crime scene, talk to witnesses, and basically try to solve the crime.
When were you first called out to the home?
I was called out on the 9th, just a little after 10 o'clock at night.
And did the investigation begin then, or did it sort of get started the next day?
It got started the next day.
Why is that? Why didn't you do that at night?
Well, at that point, we began talking to some witnesses who were at the scene, but we needed to get a search warrant to get into the house before we began the initial scene investigation.
And that search warrant wasn't available until the next day.
Correct.
And the next day, while you were that night, while you were at the scene, were you notified that somebody wanted to talk to you?
Yes.
And who was the person that wanted to talk to you that night?
That night was Jodi Arias.
And was it a telephone call that she made?
Yes.
Did you take the call that night of June 9th, 2008?
No, I did not.
How about the next day? When you were out, what happened the next day? Did you go to the scene?
Yes, I was at the scene.
About what time did you get there?
Actually, I was still there from the night before.
And during that day, the 10th now, correct?
Yes.
Did you receive any indication that Jodi Arias wanted to talk to you?
Yes, I received a phone call from a fellow officer stating that a female by the name of Jodi Arias wanted to talk to me.
And did she leave a telephone number?
Yes, she did.
So this is the second attempt that has been made, correct?
Yes.
About what time were you notified of this second attempt by the defendant?
It was in the morning, before 10 o'clock or so.
Did you then return that call?
Yes, I did.
And about what time?
Right around that same time.
And prior to speaking to this individual, well, let's do it this way. Whenever you talk to witnesses, do you always Mirandize them or not?
No.
With regard to this telephone call with her, did you Mirandize her?
No.
Why not?
She wasn't in custody.
So Miranda warnings are only required when somebody's in custody, correct?
Yes.
So this telephone call that you had with her, was it something that you tape recorded or not?
Yes, I did tape record it.
And during this telephone call, was there a discussion about whether or not Travis Alexander had a gun?
Yes.
I'm going to show you exhibit number 273. Did you listen to this before you came to court today?
Yes, I did.
And is this the portion of the recording that you had on June 10th involving whether or not Travis Alexander had a gun?
Yes.
I move for the attention of exhibit number 273.
Any objection?
This one I haven't heard.
Well, can I call you again if I need more information or
Please.
if I have another question? Do you have any questions I can answer for you?
Yeah, do you know when all this happened? I mean, I got a call last night, but is there any word on?
Sometime between Thursday and last night. We're not sure yet. We haven't been appointed yet.
And you said that maybe multiple people, because he's a big guy. It was, maybe you can't talk about this, but was there like any kind of weapon used, or was there a gun? Was there?
I can't say what type of weapon was used, but yeah, I'm guessing there was a weapon used by the type of injuries that were left behind. Do you know of him having any weapons at all in the house?
His two fists,
That's it?
really. No, yeah.
No handguns or rifles or
No, he wasn't one to keep any of that I
fighting
he used
knives
to.
or anything like that.
No, he was more into like wrestling and UFC, and he had he said he had just bought a punching bag, and he's like, I love beating the crap out of the punching bag,
Yeah,
But-
sort of.
That's a portion of the conversation, correct?
Yes, it is.
Did the conversation also deal with their relationship, their dating life, and that sort of thing?
Yes, it did.
To show you exhibit number 272, this is also another clip. Does that deal with that portion of your conversation with her?
Yes.
And this is the initiating point of the conversation, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Move for the admission of exhibit 272.
Judge, I'm going to continue to do the piece excerpts haven't been provided to defense beforehand, the takeouts, but I don't know what excerpts.
Council approach. Mr. Martinez?
The state has provided the entirety of this tape recording to the defendant and has done and did so approximately 3 years ago.
All right, Exhibit 272 is admitted.
hours. Interview with Jodi Arias. Case number 2008-1610804.
Hello?
Hello, can you speak to Jodi, please?
This is Jodi.
Hey, Jodi, this is Detective Steve Flores with the Mesa, Arizona Police Department.
Oh, hey, how are you?
Good. I just got a message from one of my patrol officers that you needed to talk to me about something.
Well, I just wanted to offer any assistance that I might have. I was a really good friend of Travis's, and I just, I know that I don't know a lot of anything, but
What have you heard so far?
I heard that he passed away, and that it was, I don't know. I've heard all kinds of rumors. I heard there was a lot of blood. I heard that his roommate found him, or his friend found him, or people were. I'm sorry. It's all, I'm upset, but I've heard that nobody's been able to get a hold of him for almost a week, and that was about the last time I spoke to him too. Which is actually why I thought my friend said I should call you anyway and let you know the last time I talked to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any help we can get from anybody who had any kind of contact with him, phone contact.
I used to talk to him quite regularly. I used to live there. I live in Northern California now. But after I moved a few months ago, and after I moved, we kept in touch very regularly, and kind of fell back a little bit. It got down to about a couple times a week, but I hadn't heard from him. I talked to him on Tuesday night. I looked at my phone records on the internet to check, and I definitely talked to him Tuesday night.
Okay. So was that your cell phone, or?
Yeah, that was my cell. It's the only phone I have.
Okay. Is this the number that I called?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was Tuesday night. Do you remember about what time?
I think it was, I want to say like 9:15, but I think it was sometime between 8 and 10. But I know it wasn't as late as 10. Probably between 8:30 and 9:30 more so. Yeah, I think.
And what did you guys talk about?
It was brief. I was driving out to Utah, and he was like, "Are you going to come out and see me?" And I'm like, "No." And he's supposed to make a trip up here at the end of the month because thing that we are doing. It's called there's a book called 1,000 Places to See Before You Die, and it's been featured on the Travel Channel and all that. And we sort of got into that last year where we were starting to see all these different places on the list, and we thought, 1,000 places is a lot of places, but why not? That would be a fun goal. So we each kind of have that goal, and one of the places is the Oregon coast and the Shakespearean Festival, and so he was going to come up here for that, and we were just going to go see that in Crater Lake and just different landmarks. And
Was that trip already scheduled, or was it just something you guys talked about? It wasn't officially dated, but I had been trying to reach him so that I could solidify my own schedule because I was planning on making a trip down there soon. But it was supposed to happen in May, and then it was supposed to happen last week, and that didn't work out. So he was going to leave for Cancun today, and then he said as soon as he gets back from Cancun, he was going to take the trip because he's going to drive up the coast. And when he reaches me, we'll go do some things, and then he'll continue on to Washington and see some friends up there. And then I guess that was supposed to happen before the beginning of July. July, he was supposed to go to Washington, D.C. Okay.
Did he have any issues with anybody here in town? Any enemies? Anybody that wanted to do him harm?
You know, got his tires slashed. It was last year. He said he was worried about that. And I was worried about that. He never locked his doors. And I would tell him, lock your doors. And like, you're not my mom, you know. And he comes from a bad city. I think he comes from Ruby, California, which is gangs and violence. And I come from a similar type of neighborhood in California. So my parents and I, we've always locked our doors, and that's just my habit. But he doesn't have that habit, and he lives in a great neighborhood, and it's never been an issue. Nothing has ever been stolen. Nothing has ever been. He's never been, broken into, and he had his tires slashed. I don't remember when it was. It was last year, sometime around Christmas, I think. Other than that.
Now, how would you describe your relationship with him?
We dated for like 5 months, and we broke up, and we continued actually to see each other for quite a bit. Right up until I moved.
When did you guys break up?
We officially broke up June 29th of last year. But even though we broke up, we were no longer boyfriend and girlfriend. We decided to remain friends. But, I kind of feel embarrassed talking about this, but it was more than friends, but it wasn't boyfriend and girlfriend. It was more like kind of buddies. You know what I mean?
Okay. So you guys were not romantically together at any time, or?
We were intimate, but I wouldn't say romantic as far as the relationship goes. But we were in no way headed toward marriage. Or talking anything about that. We probably sometime.
Now you say intimate. Does that include like a sexual relationship with him?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. I know it's kind of embarrassing to talk about stuff
I know,
like that, but you don't know me, so.
Yeah, and if you could just keep it confidential for now,
Yeah.
because I know that he's Mormon, not seriously looked down upon in our church, and I'm telling you this to help in any way I can.
Okay, I appreciate it. So you actually moved back to California a couple of months ago?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, what date was that? Do you remember?
I don't remember the exact date. I have the dates I rented the U-Haul. It was early April. Like before April 10th. So it was after the 1st, but before the 10th. So I'm guessing 7th, 8th, 9th, maybe. I'd have to check the dates for those.
Did you stop by the house when you rented the U-Haul and say goodbye to him?
Oh yeah. In fact, after I was almost moved out completely out of my house for about a week afterward, and I just stayed at his house the whole time. I practically lived there, even when I was there. I spent the night there several times a week while I lived there. I came over and I cleaned his house a lot. He paid me a little bit every month to keep his house nice and clean. Sort of like a housekeeper. So.
Did you ever happen to meet any of his roommates at that time?
I knew his group really well at this time. Various roommates. Some have moved out. One guy moved to Utah, and one guy moved to Phoenix. Zach I don't know if Zach is still there. I think he is.
Yeah, he is.
I knew Zach because I met him, and we sort of connected because he's a photographer like I am. And, he took the room that Aaron lived in previously. So, yeah. Zach.
And what do you think about Zach? What do you think his relationship is with your ex-boyfriend?
He seemed like a nice guy. When I first met him, he seemed just like a normal guy. He's a returned missionary and he served. Okay, good. I didn't lose you. He served his mission. I think in Arizona. He liked it so much that he moved back. He knew Travis from church, so yeah, him and his girlfriend were there. I think there was some alcohol there at one time, and Travis was suspicious about it, but he said he used it for cooking. That's fine, because, Mormons don't drink alcohol, but,
well, some do.
Yeah, so they're not supposed to. And Travis, that's another thing when it came to that. We call it the word of wisdom, no alcohol, tobacco, drugs, or coffee or tea. And he was just super, super, super strict on that. Yeah, he wouldn't even take Excedrin for a headache because it had caffeine. Like he's so strict on that. I'm a little less strict on that. I'll pop Excedrin any day, but
There's a lot of Diet Cokes in the fridge.
yeah, they're not Travis's. I can guarantee that. He wouldn't even touch Coke. So it's one of his other roommates, I guess.
Okay. And that was around April that you last saw him, right?
Early April.
You haven't been back in town since then?
No, I haven't at all.
I thought somebody had mentioned your name, and you've been back in town for like a week or a couple of days.
Oh, I've been thinking about going there. So yeah, I've been definitely planning on heading down there.
But you haven't physically been here since you left.
Since I moved, no, I haven't. So I was gonna go this week actually while he was in Cancun and stay at his house, but it's just not in the budget. So.
Well, was that something that you guys had scheduled, that you were going to come down, stay at his house when he was gone?
Yeah, no, actually, not. That's what I emailed him about last week because it was kind of last minute. Because I was going to go, I'm looking at a calendar here. I was going to go not this week, but the next, and then he was going to come up here that following week, which was before July. And it all sounds kind of weird. We're all like travelers. And I figured, it would be a good idea if I would have a place to stay. His house is open all the time to friends. I mean, anybody in his business or anybody that comes to visit, he gives up his bed. He'll sleep on the couch. He lets them have the whole room. So it just didn't seem like, he said the door is always open, so I would have felt totally okay just showing up and staying at his house and eating his frozen dinners, et cetera, et cetera. And he would have been fine with that too. And I just, he said just always give me a heads up. So I asked him, let me know if that's cool. If not, I'll make other arrangements. And I never heard back.
And when was that email sent out?
Just a few days ago. I'm in front of the computer, so I can check right now for you.
Yeah, you can do that. Please.
Yeah. Just log into my account.
What's his email address?
Yeah, to his email.
Yeah, well, what is his email address,
His email is travis.alexander@gmail.com. Let's see. I sent one on June 7th. Haven't heard back from you. He got a little bit upset when I said I wasn't driving out to see him, but he gets upset real easily. I don't know, he likes to hang it over me a little bit, and we kind of guilt each other sometimes.
So you guys still had a fairly decent relationship as friends?
We did. We had a really
people that we talked to said that you guys, that your relationship was kind of rocky, and it got a little crazy at times. Or
it did. What happened was when I broke up with Travis around last year, because it was all really dumb. It was a bunch of drama. I had the suspicion that he was cheating on me, and so I looked in his phone to find out, and I found all these text messages, and it just all blew up, and it was like we realized we couldn't trust each other. So I mean, we broke up at that point, but we were still attracted to each other, and we still loved each other. So it wasn't the best thing, but we still hung out all the time together. And it didn't really help either of us to move on, because I haven't really dated anyone since. And he told me that he hadn't dated anyone since, but then he told me that he has. So it's all been kind of weird, because we kept our dating lives sort of from each other, like a don't ask, don't tell policy, sort of. And I think it worked out. It was more convenient for us. I figured, if he didn't have a girlfriend, then I'm okay coming over. And as long as he didn't think that I was with anybody, then he was fine too. So just the less we knew about each other's dating lives or romantic lives, the better the better off we were. So it was sent June 7th. Yeah, this is the one I sent about letting him know.
And what town are you in again?
I'm sorry?
What town are you in again?
I'm in Yreka, California. Yreka.
Yreka?
Uh-huh.
Oh, where is that at?
It is 15 minutes from Oregon, and it's on Interstate 5.
Okay. All right. So just right north of the border.
Yeah. inland.
Not close to the coast.
No, unfortunately.
I had some other questions. I'm trying to remember what they were. I mean, you kind of lived in the house for a while. You knew the surroundings and the house, the kind of furniture he had, the bedding and stuff. Can you describe his bedroom bedding and stuff for me? It's kind of an unusual question, but...
No, that's fine. I spent a lot of time in there. He's got like, I don't know if it's like Egyptian cotton or whatever, but it's a really nice brown linen, and it's soft. It's not like flannel, but it's soft. And he always brags to everyone about his IntelliGel bed. Like, it's really comfy. So he's got a great mattress, and it's like, apparently it's like this $5,000 mattress that he picked up for really, really cheap because it was a showroom thing or it was a return. Or somehow he got a really sweet deal on it. So it's a king size. I don't know if it's California or what, but it's a king size bed. It's kind of like I think it's like a sleigh bed. It's dark wood.
But the bedding is mainly like a brown linen, really nice cotton linen.
Yeah, he has, it's maybe different patterns on the sheets versus the comforter, but the sheets are brown and the comforter is brown and the pillowcases are brown.
What? So the color of the comforter is brown as well? Does it have any type of pattern or like tassels or edging?
No, I think it has stripes. I think it has like, and they're not like colored stripes, they're just like stripes in the brown pattern stuff.
Oh, like, it's dark brown, but it's got a little bit darker brown, like threading?
Yeah. Yeah, you can see that there's a pattern there. And the sheet may be more of like a checkered thing, I think, if I remember correctly. And his cover too, his bedspread is like, it's a down comforter that's white, and then it's got like I don't know what he used to call it, it has a special name.
So it's like a duvet cover?
Yes, the duvet.
What does the duvet look like?
It comes like it's got buttons on the end, and it covers the whole thing, and you slide the actual comforter inside the duvet, which is what you pull off to wash, or you can, that kind of thing. So, and we've, like many times, it's so hard to get in there with one person, so you kind of just grab the corners and we pull it in together on one side, and then you just sort of fluff it out and then button up the buttons.
Yeah, that down kind of just shoves over in one corner. It doesn't want to spread out.
Yeah, exactly.
So it didn't have like any type of edging or tassels or anything like that you know of, like a light brown.
Not that I remember.
Is there anything in the house that resembled anything with some type of small tan rope-ish kind of material or edging or anything like that? A blanket?
He may have pillows. Yeah, he may have had pillows. Yeah, he has pillows on his bed, not on the bed, but on the chair that's next to his bed.
Yeah.
There's those. There's also a round pillow that he uses to make his bed, and there's just one. He puts it in the center. And there may be some kind of tassel thing on that.
Do you know anybody back here that still has contact with him?
Yeah, lots of people, tons of people.
Is that how you found out about what had happened?
A friend of mine, Dan Freeman, called me last night. I met Dan through Travis.
Dan Freeman.
Freeman. Yeah, F-R-E-M-A-N.
Okay, yeah, we talked to him as well.
I met him last year with his sister when we all took a trip out to the Grand Canyon in Sedona.
So he called you last night and told you what happened?
Yeah. He didn't have a lot of information.
Any idea what everybody's talking about, what they're saying, what their suspicions are?
They're saying, everything that I've heard was that, and I got a lot of my information from Bishop Layton, more details, and he's basically that they took everybody and separated them, and I don't know who everybody is. I'm assuming Zach because he was there, and his girlfriend, because I called Zach's cell phone, and she couldn't tell me anything, but she answered. And she said, there are a lot of people here that I don't know, but Zach's not here. So it didn't make sense. And I was confused, but she couldn't tell me anything. So I didn't get a lot out of her, but Bishop Layton said he was there for 4 hours, and they interviewed everybody. And they all went to the police station, and that they're treating it as a suspicious death. And I heard from my friend Dave Hall that there was a lot of blood, and I don't know if that's just a rumor that's going around or true. And I also heard that his services will be in California, but that they haven't released his body to his grandma yet. So that's all I've really heard so far.
Well, I can tell you that we're investigating it as a homicide.
Okay.
And not a suspicious death anymore. It's pretty obvious. And it's important for us to find out why somebody would want to do harm to him.
Exactly.
What kind of stuff he was possibly involved in, or maybe it just could have been as simple as a burglary or an intruder or something that had gone wrong.
I'm wondering because he's still, when they said suspicious death, I thought, well, he's trying to shed pounds for Cancun, so he looks good in boxers or a bathing suit or whatever, or swim trunks. And I know that I thought he takes supplements, and he works out really, really hard. I've seen him work out, and it's a very intense routine, and he has these heavy dumbbells that he uses, and he's so strong. I mean, there are a couple times we've tried to wrestle just for fun, and he showed me some moves, and there's just no, I don't see how anyone, unless maybe there were two people, I don't see how anyone could overpower him unless there was.
He's a pretty good sized guy.
Yeah, he was close to 200 pounds, I think.
Yeah. It would take, I would say, two people, if not maybe more, to kind of overpower him. I've tried with officers, working this job, to take down a woman at 135 pounds who's out of control, and it's difficult to control, somebody like that. No ideas come to mind why somebody would want to hurt him. Did he owe somebody money? Did he have any worries or concerns about anybody?
He did owe people money, but they were all good friends. They weren't it wasn't a bad situation. It was, in fact, there was one family that lent him money that's very, very wealthy from what I understand, and it's not like it hurt them to lend him the money. Of course, they expected him to pay it back, and he had a very reasonable timeline. And they also had a really good collateral in case he didn't pay back. They owned a piece of stock that he owned, so if they didn't pay him back, it was like $6,000 or something. I think it was $6,000. But if he didn't get them paid back on time, then they would just keep the stock, which would eventually be worth over $25,000. So I don't think they were worried about that at all. That's the Hyatt family. Brent Hyatt was there last night. But that was when he was struggling financially several months back, and I don't know. I haven't talked to him about how that's going since. But I know that's.
What's the situation with the car that was? Somebody mentioned a BMW.
Yeah, I'm buying his BMW.
Okay, because we found a check that was written by you to him. I think it was last month.
Yeah, I recently mailed him a check. I mailed him that and a few other things. I'm making payments to him.
Okay, and you still have that car right now?
No, it's actually not in my possession. I did the dumbest thing. I went and hooked it up to the U-Haul. Everything was cool and set to go. I got the dolly where the back wheels are on the ground because it was cheaper.
Yeah.
And the U-Haul guy said, okay, drive it up here. Okay, stop, brake. And everything was cool. And I stopped the car, turned it off. Both got the car, left the door open so they could look at everything. And they shut the door and said, you're good to go. And I took off. And this is going to sound really dumb. I realize now that this is not how you tow a car, but I left it in first gear. Yeah. And I headed down the highway and I blew the engine to smithereens. It looked like it gave birth all over the highway. There's just black oil everywhere. And so it's sitting at Wes's Auto something last time I checked. It's there in Mesa, and the guy's been really nice about just keeping it until Travis figures out what he can do. We've called lawyers about it, and my lawyer said, have your insurance fix it, and his lawyer said your insurance might not fix it because it might be considered mechanical. So that's the last we talked about it. We've been, he's been real busy and hasn't had a lot of time to attend to it. And I have a vehicle right now, but not for much longer because I have to give it back to the bank. So, either way.
When did you mail that payment into May?
It was a few weeks ago. Yeah, it must have been.
So you're still making payments to that? Or?
Oh yeah. In fact, that's my first payment because we just did this car deal like right before I moved, and he said we have a buyer's agreement too. I think that I typed out and mailed to him. We have, like he said, just get on your feet, and then start sending payments. And the agreement was, X amount per month, whatever I could pay. So finally got a job and gave him that payment for $200.
What was $200 a month?
Yeah. It was $100 a month minimum.
Okay.
Minimum. And if I could pay more, please.
Okay. We did talk to certain people, and I don't want to tell you this. I don't want to make you feel bad, but they didn't have the best of things to say about you. They felt that you were either taking advantage of him or just hanging around when you weren't wanted. They mentioned that you would sometimes end up going into his house. You were in his house when he didn't want you there, and he would ask you to leave, but you would continue to return. There was also some talk about you spying on his email and Facebook accounts, those kinds of things.
He gave me his Facebook password and his MySpace password, and I gave him my Facebook password and my Gmail account password. And the reason we did that is because it was kind of dumb. We did that months ago, and we thought, what can we do to try to reestablish trust between us? And why don't we start with that? And so that's what we did. And then, it just didn't work. He got really upset finally, and he's like, this isn't working. And I said, all right, this is too much of a headache. Let's just change our passwords. So we did. We changed our passwords after that.
How long ago did you guys change them?
I changed mine, not long ago, probably 3 weeks ago, maybe. And I don't know about his because I haven't, once he made it clear that he wasn't comfortable with that anymore, I didn't even try to get back into his account anymore. So.
Yeah, I've been married almost 20 years, and I don't have my wife's email.
Really? I know it's.
You just have to trust sometimes.
It's true. Yeah. It's true. And I told him, we've had hours upon hours of conversation, and I said, I just don't know if I could ever trust you again, and he doesn't know if he could ever trust me again because I might always want to get back into his phone and find out, does he really have something going on or what? Because, he did at one point, and so he said, yeah, I understand that, and he said, but if we were married, you would have all my passwords to everything because there wouldn't be anything to worry about.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that's nice,
Yeah.
but we're not married. And as far as getting into his emails, that never happened. What he has on his computer is he would oftentimes just leave his computer on, and he'll leave his Gmail window up. And there were times when I got on his computer to look up other things, and if his Gmail window was open, then I would just close it. That was constantly getting into his email.
I had to mention that to you because we are getting a search warrant for his email, Gmail and Facebook and those accounts. And we can't tell where those things were accessed from by IP addresses. And I just want to make it clear that that if you did access it from somewhere else at a certain time, if you access it from California, we're going to know.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now that I did.
Okay.
He gave me his passwords. No, the only accounts that I've accessed though were MySpace and Gmail because those were the only passwords.
And how long ago? When was the last time you actually accessed them?
Weeks ago. We had
we had a conversation where it's like he made it clear that he wasn't comfortable with that anymore, and I said that's okay. And I changed my Gmail account password because he got into that too, and then he saw another guy's email there, and gave me a hard time about it, and so it just was dumb. You know, we're both trying to move on, and we're both, I don't know, it was weird.
It seems like there was a lot of jealousy issues.
I think there might have been on both parts. For me, it wasn't so much jealousy as it was like I just wanted to know, like I just wanted him to be honest. And for him, I think one of the reasons I moved was because we were spending too much time together and we weren't moving on, and wasn't able to. I mean, I guess I could have dated other people, but our social circles were so small that anytime he heard about something, it just wasn't good.
Did you move down here the first time because of him?
Yeah, I moved there because of him, and I moved away because of him. Primarily, I also moved away for financial reasons. I'm with my grandparents now, but you know, there were three main reasons I moved here. One, I moved my family, two, financially, and three was because of travel. And the main reason that I moved there was because of travel.
Okay. Yeah, because when we first arrived on scene and started talking to people, some of his closest friends, you know, began mentioning your name as, you know, hey, you need to call her because she probably knows what happened to him, or she possibly had something to do with it.
Oh gosh, no,
that's how bad it was getting at the scene. And I needed to talk to you to find out why they would say something like that. Why they would start pointing fingers in your direction right away.
I don't know. Maybe because I'm an ex-girlfriend. We've had lots of fights.
Was there a lot of issues? You know, I mean, obviously it wasn't a great relationship.
It was great for a while until it all went. Yeah, we started fighting because I did know thing and I got into his phone because I had a suspicion that he wasn't being faithful, and I found a bunch of text messages that were no good. And rather than being an adult about it and confronting him, I kept it in and I kind of let it fester. And I was miserable and I didn't know why, and I wanted to tell him, but I was worried that it would just lead to an unnecessary fight. And then I realized this was no kind of relationship, so it finally all came out. And he was really apologetic, but we just both realized that neither of us could be in an adult relationship, and that was June of last year. So at that point, we continued to see each other, a long time after that.
Well, I'm glad I did get a hold of you again. You did call me because it kind of clears up a lot of the questions I had, a lot of the concerns. It's not what I don't think it's what these people thought was going on. So.
I should probably tell you that, Travis, when he got upset, he would send me really mean emails. He would send me mean text messages and things. You'll find probably some stuff on his Facebook. I know for sure you'll find one on his Facebook and definitely in his Gmail, and you're welcome to access all of my accounts too if you want. With Travis,
we're probably gonna subpoena all his Facebook and Gmail and everything to see who he was communicating with, what he was saying, what he was saying to him.
Okay.
I'm not sure how far back. We usually go 6 months to a year.
Okay.
But in a case like this, we need to know, who had some type of beef with him, who, why they would do something like this to him.
Yeah.
I hate telling people over the phone, but, it's like I said, it is a homicide investigation. And it was an angry situation. And when we see scenes like this, the first thing we think is these people hated each other. Somebody went in there to hurt him, and they did. And they hurt him really bad. And he's a big guy, and it would take, like I mentioned to you before, it would take more than one person to do this to him.
Can you,
And
was he,
I was just hoping maybe you could kind of point me in the right direction. I'm talking to everybody
No.
that he knows that
I went to talk to a guy named Thomas Brown, and I don't think that, honestly, I haven't seen or heard from him since he was kicked out. I think his last name was Brown. I could try to find him on lbslinkup.com, but that was so long ago, though. That was last spring of 2007, March even. And what happened was he got kicked out because he was considered like borderline sexual predator, not like a rapist, but coming on to girls and that kind of thing. And it just really was down upon in the church. And so he was disfellowshipped, and Travis said, "You need to get out, get your stuff out of my house." And it wasn't a friendly situation. It was said over the phone because he and I were in Missouri and somewhere back east, just touring, and Thomas was.
So he ended up kicking him out at that time.
Yeah, he kicked him out at the time. But Thomas, he's a really big guy, but he doesn't seem like he doesn't seem violent. He seemed pretty gentle. He just seemed like a little bit thuggish, but like he was trying to act the part, not because he was that. Because he thought it would like attract chicks or something. I don't know. So he seems honestly like I didn't know him that well, but he seemed like a big dumb teddy bear.
So as part of this conversation, was there also a discussion between you and the defendant about whether or not she had some regrets about not being there at the time of the attack?
Yes.
And is that memorialized in this clip 274 as to what her feelings are about whether or not she should have been there?
Yes.
I move for the admission of Exhibit 274.
Again, Judge, I'm going to object to the admission of another excerpt that I am not.
Please approach. '74 is admitted.
And what was your first name again? Steve Flores. Steve, okay. And I just wanted to say, again, that Travis and I had an on-off kind of relationship. I don't know. We just weren't talking a lot the last several weeks, a couple times a week, and I just keep saying, what if I just gone down there, what if I had never moved and I would have been there and I could have, I don't know.
So you guys continue to talk this whole time?
Yeah, definitely. It was more sporadic. But we usually talk late at night, like 12, anywhere between 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. and like 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning. He was kind of,
Did he have any other cell phones besides, well, we found one cell phone.
no, I'm pretty sure he didn't, otherwise I'd know about it. He had his Verizon cell phone and he had his landline.
I don't have any other questions at this time, however, we'll recall it.
Cross-examination?
Hello, Detective.
Hello.
I was going to ask you about the portion of your work that Mr. Martinez just spoke to you about, all right?
Okay.
But before we do that, let me back up just a little bit. You mentioned that you were called out to the scene.
Yes.
Okay. How does that work exactly?
The call usually comes in from a patrol officer to my supervisor. We had 2 supervisors at that time in the homicide unit, and they make the decision on who to call out to investigate that particular homicide that night.
Okay. So when you received the call asking you to go out to this address on Queensboro, what information did you have?
The only information I had was that there was a suspicious death, and they gave me the address on Queensboro, and they didn't have any further information.
Okay. And you recall, as best you can estimate, how long a time period was it between the time that you received that call and by the time you arrived at the house on Queensboro?
It was within an hour.
Okay. And describe for us, if you will, what the scene was when you arrived. What was going on when you pulled up to the house?
Well, the house was cordoned off with police caution tape around the entire residence. Actually, the street was blocked off as well. And there were police vehicles and patrol officers and patrol supervisors there at that time.
Okay. You say the street was blocked off. Was that just in front of the house or was that the entire street?
No, just in front of the house.
Okay. And it seems to me like there were some, based on what Officer Williams told us, there were some people around the house. Where were they?
They were off on one of the corners, probably about 30 to 40 yards away from the house.
Okay. And why don't you tell us, were there several officers there, or just kind of give us a description of that?
Anywhere from around 4 to 6 officers, I would say.
Okay. So the crime scene had been cordoned off. The people were put into a certain area, correct?
They weren't really put in an
Okay.
area, but they were off on a corner somewhere. There were neighbors and, from what I could tell, friends of Travis.
Okay. And tell us what you did when you got up to the house.
We first met with the patrol supervisor,
Okay.
uniform patrol supervisor there, and we received a briefing of what they've received so far, the information, and what they've done up to that point.
Okay. And that was the night of the 9th?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And you said you were there till the early morning hours of the 10th?
We were there pretty much the entire day, the rest of the day as well.
Okay. So how long did you stay on that first night?
I don't recall the exact time, but I know it was evening. It was dark when we left on the 10th.
Okay. And then you returned the 10th
Yes,
in the morning.
yes.
Okay. And this phone call we just heard about, we just heard excerpts from, I should say. When did that take place?
That took place late morning, early afternoon on the 10th.
Okay. And then when you referenced during that phone call, you just heard it, correct?
Yes,
You referenced people talking about Miss Arias being a stalker, or always around when she wasn't supposed to be, that sort of thing. Where did that information come from?
that information came from some of my fellow officers and fellow detectives who I assigned to go talk and interview some of the people at the scene.
Okay. So they conduct interviews with these various people, and then you discuss what they learned
Yes.
with them. Okay. And did you talk to anyone specifically that night?
We conducted some interviews at the Mesa Police Station. Mimi Hall, who was here testifying, we talked to her and some of the roommates as well.
Okay.
There was 2 roommates in particular.
And that was part of your portion of the initial investigation, right? The
Yes.
part you did yourself. Okay. I want to again focus in on that phone call. Miss Arias told you that Travis's weapons were his 2 fists. You recall hearing that?
Yes.
A few minutes ago? Okay. She also mentioned that he, I think her words were to the effect of, loves beating the crap out of a punching bag.
Yes.
Okay. Was there a punching bag found in the home?
Yes, there was.
Okay. And where was that located?
It was, I would say, the downstairs living room area.
Okay. And could you describe that for us? Because I know sometimes there's punching bags that sit on the ground, sometimes hang from the ceiling.
It's one of the type that sits on the ground. It has the larger base. I don't know, it's filled with water or sand or something.
Okay.
And then it has the punching bag padded area above it.
Okay. When you found that, or you observed that, and I should back up, you did enter the home that night, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when you observed that punching bag, did it look like it was in place, like it had been used recently? Do you know?
I couldn't tell.
Okay. She also mentioned in this phone call that she was employed by Mr. Alexander to clean his home.
Yes.
Okay. Did you later went through, you talked also in this phone call about going through, subpoenaing his Facebook, his MySpace, Gmail, all that stuff, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And did you review those materials?
No, I never subpoenaed him at that time. It was at a later date.
Okay, at a later date.
Yes.
But you did eventually get to reviewing those materials.
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember how much later that was?
A year,
Okay.
year and a half.
Year and a half
I
later.
can't remember the specific date, but yeah.
All right. Do you remember seeing an email from Mr. Alexander to Miss Arias where he provides her a picture of the French maid outfit that he would like her to don when she cleans his apartment, or his home, excuse me?
That doesn't sound familiar.
Okay.
I don't remember that.
All right. You also asked Miss Arias about rope or tassels, or when you were talking about the bedding, you specifically brought up rope or tassels. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Could you tell us why you did that?
In part of the scene, we actually saw a small piece of fabric. It appeared to be maybe part of a tassel. And it was right in the middle of the scene in the bathroom.
Okay. A moment, Your Honor. If I may approach, Your Honor. Detective, I'm going to hand you Exhibit 271. Exhibit 270. $269. $268. $267. $266. And $265. Now, Detective, I've showed you, do you recognize the exhibits I've put before you?
Yes.
Okay. And as it relates, there are some that relate to the bathroom area, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And there are some that are elsewhere in the house, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. But you recognize all those photos as true and accurate depictions of the crime scene that you saw that night?
Yes, they are.
Judge, I'd move for the omission of those exhibits.
Any objection?
No.
Exhibit 265, 266, 267, 268, 269, 270, and 271 are admitted.
May I close, Your Honor?
May.
And for the record, Detective, we're going to begin with Exhibit 270. Could you describe for us what you see there?
Yeah, it's that piece of fabric listed as number 8
Okay.
with placard 8.
And that is the rope or tassel you were referring to with Miss Arias during the phone call?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Detective, I'm going to show you Exhibit 271. And could you advise us what we're seeing there?
Same one as the last one, just at a different angle.
Okay. And again, for the record, Exhibit 265.
Yes. Another
Okay.
piece of rope or tassel.
All right. And that was, just so we're clear as well, that's another piece, correct?
A separate piece,
Okay.
also in the bathroom area.
And Detective, if you could describe for us what we see in this exhibit.
That's same as the last one, item number 3. Different angle.
And for the record, this is Exhibit 266. Let's see here. Detective, could you describe for us what you see in this exhibit?
You talking about the same placard, number 3?
2, 3,
same.
and 4.
Yeah, same as the last. There were also other items there. I believe the other 2 and 4 were hair fibers.
Okay. And as we were talking earlier, pieces of this rope-like substance were also found elsewhere in the home, were they not?
Yes.
I want to show you, for the record, exhibit number 268. And could you describe for us what we see there?
Yes, another piece of the thread or string tassel, and this was actually on the stairs leading up to the bedroom.
Okay. And this would be that same piece of rope, just further depicting the stairs, is that correct?
Yes, yeah, without the placard.
Okay. Now, in terms of choosing to photograph these items, or do you direct a person to take certain pictures, or how does that work?
Yes, it's up to my direction.
Okay. And so then be it on the 9th or the 10th, your attention was drawn to this rope and thought it might be of significance in your investigation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The other bit of conversation you had with Ms. Arias dealt with, she told you when you were discussing the emails, you were talking about getting into his emails, and she was talking about discussions they had while in the email account. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall her saying that he had said several mean things to her
Yes.
in these emails? And I guess according to your testimony previously, it was about a year and a half later that you actually looked at these emails, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you remember seeing emails in which Mr. Alexander referred to Miss Arias as a, quote, three-hole wonder,
Yes.
Objection, hearsay.
as a slut,
Yes.
as a whore?
Yes.
Thank you, Detective.
Redirect.
Why was he referring to her like that? What had she done?
Speculation.
Sustain.
Well, you read that email, right? You responded to defense counsel, didn't you?
Yes.
Any knowledge that you have comes from that email, doesn't it?
Yes.
What did that email say? Why was he upset?
Objection calls for speculation.
Approach, please. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take the noon recess at this time. Please be back in the designated area at 1:25, and we will start promptly at 1:30. Please remember the admonition. Are there any questions? Have a nice lunch. You are excused. Please be seated. The record will show the presence of the jury, the defendant, and all counsel. Mr. Martinez, you may continue with redirect.
Your name, sir?
Esteban Flores?
And you were the person testifying before lunch, correct?
Yes.
Please take a look at Exhibit 275. Are you familiar with that? Yes or no?
Yes, I am.
And with regard to that item, well, what is it, first of all?
It's a copy of instant message emails sent back and
Between who?
forth between Jodi Arias and Travis Alexander.
And you were asked previously on cross-examination about this reference to a three-hole wonder, correct?
Yes.
Is that the document contains that reference?
Yes, it is.
With regard to that reference involving that particular comment, why was that comment made as indicated in that document?
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustained as phrased.
Well, let's go to page 8 at the bottom. What is he complaining about?
What page was that again, sir?
8 at the bottom. Four lines from the bottom.
References to being used sexually by Miss Arias.
What is it saying?
Specifically, let me read it from here. I think I was little more than a dildo with a heartbeat to you.
And that's what he's saying to her, right?
Yes.
In the previous page, pages 1 and 2 and 3, do they talk about whether or not to tell the truth?
Yes.
I'm going to object, John, just on answering the questions post and cross.
Mr. Martinez?
It's part of the same document, and it's part of the reason why he's calling what he's calling her.
There's no link, Judge. I mean, he's had to speculate on the link.
Counsel approach and bring the transcript, please.
Go to page 3 and read the whole thing.
Starts with Facebook.
Yes, just read it though.
Okay. Me.
No. Read it to yourself.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted me to read it out loud. Okay.
And in terms of the reference to the three-hole wonder, it's toward the bottom, correct?
Yes.
Go ahead and read the next page, which is 416, to yourself.
Okay.
What is the context of that comment?
The context throughout those 2 pages is Travis Alexander and Jodi Arias are having a conversation, and Travis is complaining about her lying to him.
So you were asked about some fibers, and these are set out in exhibits numbers 265 through 271. Do you remember those? And I'll start with 265, for example.
Yes.
First of all, you see the scale on there, right? This is exhibit number 265.
Yes.
And what is that word there?
It says metric.
And with regard to these spaces in between, in terms of the metric scale, what are they? Like centimeters, millimeters, kilometers, what are they?
The large section
No,
is
this.
the small ones, millimeters.
And how many millimeters are there in an inch?
Approximately 25.
It's a little bit more than 25,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
How much?
Well, there's 2.4 centimeters in an inch, and then there's 10.
So it's 2.54 or 2?
Yeah, 2.54.
So you're talking 25.4 millimeters to an inch, right?
Yes.
And so that will tell us, for example, by looking at this, by counting out 25 millimeters, how much an inch is, right?
Yes.
With regard to those particular items there, can you tell whether or not this really is a piece of a rope?
It looks more like a small thread.
And if you take a look at exhibits 63 and 81, let's take a look at those, first of all.
Yes.
Do you recognize those?
Yes.
What are those photographs of?
Photographs of the interior of Travis Alexander's house, more in particular his bedroom and part of the bathroom near the shower.
And were those taken back at the time of the investigation of the crime in June of 2008?
Yes.
I move for the admission of exhibit 63 and 81.
No objection.
Exhibit 63 and 81 will be admitted.
Let's take a look at Exhibit 63. What are we looking at here?
A photograph of Travis Alexander's bedroom.
And specifically, what is this item here?
Those are throw pillows.
And what's around the corners of those throw pillows?
Tassel-like fibers.
Those tassel-like fibers, if we take a look at exhibit number 265, you were there. Can you tell us whether or not they are similar to those?
Yes, that's speculation.
Overruled.
Yes, they are.
And let me show you another exhibit. It's exhibit number 271. See this that's on there? This item here, you see that?
Yes, I do.
Take a look at exhibits numbers 64 and 68.
Okay.
Those are photographs. Are they true and accurate depictions of an area and an item from the scene that existed back when the investigation was being conducted in June of 2008?
Yes, they are.
Look at the omission of exhibits 64 and 68.
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 64 and Exhibit 68 will be admitted.
This is exhibit 64. And orient us a little bit. What are we looking at here?
Looking at the interior of Travis Alexander's bedroom, looking from just behind the entry door. You can actually see the door on the right-hand side, door handle. And you're looking, what direction? Kind of like a northeast direction into the bedroom.
What does this door lead to?
That one is actually to the closet that parallels the hallway into the bathroom.
And exhibit number, and there is something in the middle here, this photograph, the first one, 264, correct? Right there?
Yes, the sandals.
Okay. Then if we take a look at exhibit 68, that's a close-up of what?
The sandals in the middle of the room.
And with regard to these sandals, do they have any covering on them where a person would step?
Yes, full of fibers.
And you see this right here. What is this? These items that are sticking out from around the sandals?
Those are the actual fibers that the sandals are covered with.
And then if we take a look at exhibit number 271, what is that? In your opinion, could that be, is that consistent with having come from those shoes?
Yes, it is consistent.
In looking through this whole house, was there ever a rope that was found?
No.
So if there had been a rope there, and you didn't find it, what would have happened to the rope?
Objection calls for speculation. It's beyond the scope of cross.
Overruled.
We would have taken it.
I know, but if it wasn't there, would you have taken it?
No.
If somebody had taken it before you, would you have taken it?
No, I couldn't have.
But did you find any long lengths of rope or anything like that when you were there?
No.
And did you find, for example, in Exhibit 63, was that bedroom examined?
Yes, it was.
Was the area here around the bed examined?
Yes.
Was the area, Exhibit number 64, was the area right around here examined?
Yes.
And I mean the lower portion. Did any officers look underneath the bed?
Yes.
Did they look behind the headboard?
Yes.
Was there ever a knife found anywhere near there?
No.
Was there ever any rope found anywhere near there? In other words, any of these little strands that we're talking about, were any of those found anywhere near the bed?
No.
You talk about cordoning off the street and that sort of thing when you got there, and the house being cordoned off. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
What's the purpose of that?
To secure the residence, to keep anybody from going in and disturbing any evidence.
So that from the time that the police received the call till the time the first police officer came, that meant that nobody had access to that place, correct?
That's correct.
And how long did you keep the scene open, or how long was the scene secured, so to speak?
Almost 3 days.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
I have one question from a juror. Are there any other questions from the jury? If there are questions, ladies and gentlemen, raise your hand, and if you need some time to write it out, just let me know and we will wait for you. Counsel, please approach. All right, Detective, a juror has a question for you. Are the exhibits number 272, 273, and 274 from the same conversation?
What exhibits are those? Could I see them again?
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Mr. Nerman, you may recross and follow up on the juror question if you have anything.
Thank you, Your Honor. A moment, please. Do you still have exhibits up with you?
Yes.
And if I may approach, Your Honor.
Yes.
Actually, I'll tell you what, we will put up Exhibit 63. Again, Mr. Martinez showed you that just a minute ago. You recall seeing that?
Yes.
Okay. Based on the observations you made, and I believe what you told us was that This picture accurately depicts what you saw at the crime scene on June 9th and or June 10th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it would appear that those pillows are in an unmolested state. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. And you recall Mr. Martinez also asked you about pair of sandals or flip-flops with some fibers on them, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let me step back a bit. Mesa Police Department, how long have you been employed there?
19 years?
Okay, so you're pretty familiar with the practices and the procedures and those sort of things, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I suspect then, could you tell us whether Mesa Police Department has a crime lab?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And what sort of things does that crime lab do?
Everything from DNA typing, fingerprint analysis, blood work, those kinds of things.
Okay. So if they had known fibers, for example, from these pillows or from sandals or that sort of thing, they could compare that against items you found at the crime scene, correct?
Our lab does not do that.
Okay. So you could there would be no way for you to compare?
We would have to send those out to another lab.
Okay. Was that done?
No.
Okay. So the estimation you're making that these are similar characteristics are just based on your observation, not any actual data or testing. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Martinez?
Those 3 exhibits or the 3 DVDs that you have in front of you, those were from the same conversation, correct?
Yes, they were.
What date was the conversation that you had of those 3 DVDs?
They were June 10th, 2008.
And who initiated that? In other words, I know you made the call, but were you returning a call?
I was returning a call, a message to call Jodi Arias back.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
You may step down. The state may call its next witness.
State called Heather Connor.
Can you spell your first and last name, please?
Heather, H-E-A-T-H-E-R, Connor, C-O-N-N-E-R.
Raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Please walk right around and have a seat. You may proceed.
May I have your name, please?
Yes, my name is Heather Connor.
Who do you work for?
I work for the Mesa Police Department.
And how long have you worked for the Mesa Police Department?
I was hired in September of 2004.
And what were your duties when you were initially hired?
When I was originally hired at the Mesa Police Department, I was hired as a crime scene technician. I was promoted in June of 2005 to latent print examiner.
And what kind of, do you have to have a degree for that sort of thing? What kind of experience did you have or education prior to being hired?
I hold a Bachelor of Science degree in anthropology and journalism. I have an Associate of Science degree in forensic technology.
And what were your duties back in June of 2008?
In June of 2008, I was a latent print examiner. Among my duties includes performing the comparative analysis of unknown finger and palm prints that are recovered from crime scenes and items of evidence to known subjects' prints. I also process evidence in the laboratory using various chemicals and powders, and I respond to major crime scenes. I take photographs, collect evidence, and process for latent prints.
With regard to this issue of latent fingerprints, What is a latent fingerprint?
A latent fingerprint is a chance impression. On the palmar sides of your hands and the soles of your feet, we have a specialized type of skin that's called friction ridge skin. It's very similar to corduroy in that there are peaks and valleys to that skin. And throughout the day, you can collect different materials on the surface of your skin, including oils from your face or hair, grease from the food that you eat, or other things throughout your day. And when you touch a surface, you can leave an impression of the arrangement of friction ridges on your hands or palms onto that surface.
So as I understand what you're saying is that these impressions that are left behind, well, let me ask it this way. Are they left behind every single time that a person, for example, touches a surface like I'm doing here on this podium?
No, there are many reasons a print may or may not be left behind.
Well, does environment have anything to do with whether or not this impression is going to be left behind?
Yes.
Specifically, what environmental factors affect whether or not a print is going to be left behind?
If it's a very warm day, most of the perspiration on your fingers is water. It can evaporate. So if it's a very warm day, you may not leave an impression behind. You may have very dry hands. The residue left behind could evaporate from the surface. If it's been raining, the residue could be washed away. Environmental factors like that can affect whether a print is left behind or not.
How about a surface? For example, if I get a hold of something that's made out of wood and I put my hands all over it, am I more or less likely to leave a chance or latent fingerprint behind? It's got a lot of holes in it. It's just a piece of wood.
I would say in that case, you're less likely to leave a latent print behind on a very rough, holy surface than a smooth, hard surface. If you think of a fingerprint as a rubber stamp and think about if you ink up a rubber stamp and press it on a very rough surface, you don't get a very clear impression of that stamp left behind. A fingerprint is the same sort of thing.
What about movement? What if I'm, for example, going through something and I'm moving very quickly and I slide my hand against the surface like I did of the podium there? Am I less or more likely to leave a fingerprint?
You may leave a fingerprint behind in that circumstance, but you could be smearing the fingerprint and the arrangement won't be visible. It won't be very clear based on the movement.
So you get these fingerprints. Let's assume that you actually left them. How do you go about determining who's the person that left them behind? Let's say in this world where you have billions and billions of people, you don't know who the person was that left it behind. That's why you're checking. So how is it that you go about effecting an identification?
The methodology that we use to compare fingerprints, it goes by the acronym ACE-V. That's ACE-V. That stands for analysis, comparison, evaluation, and verification. In the analysis phase, what an examiner will do is examine the latent impression to determine its overall suitability for comparison. The overall ridge flow of that print. Can I tell if it's a finger or a palm? Can I tell the orientation of the print? How clear is the information? Is there a great deal of difficulty in distinguishing between the raised portions, which would be the ridges, and the furrows? We're looking for 3 levels of detail in a fingerprint. Level 1 detail is the overall ridge flow, and in the fingers will be pattern type. And we're looking for level 2 detail. That's called ridge characteristics. There's many other terms that can be used, such as minutia, Galton detail, things like that. That's going to be where a ridge is flowing along and abruptly ends. Call that an ending ridge. You also have ridges that flow along and then branch into 2 ridges, and that's called a bifurcation. So that's the second level of detail that we're looking at in the analysis phase. The third level of detail is pores. On the friction ridge surfaces, there are pores that exude sweat. The location, shape, and size of those pores is visible in some impressions. And the other part of third level detail would be the shapes of the edges of the ridges themselves. So in the analysis phase, we're looking for all of that information. It's fact gathering. We're looking to see, do we have level 1 detail? Do we have level 2 detail? Do we have level 3 detail? That's all with just the latent impression. Then we move to the known impressions or exemplars, and we're performing an analysis
Well,
of...
let me stop you there.
Okay,
What if you don't know who the person is? When you go out to a scene, you really don't know, correct?
that's correct.
So are you familiar with something called APHIS?
Yes,
What is, APHIS is an acronym, correct?
it is.
And what does it, APHIS stand for?
APHIS is the Automated Fingerprint Identification System.
And without talking about the actual bank that's involved, I'm just talking about the machine. I don't want to know how the knowns go in there, okay? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. Does this machine help you then make a comparison to other knowns that may be around? Yes or no?
Yes.
And what is the advantage of having the APHIS system as opposed to a human being sitting down and making this comparison?
The APHIS system is a searching database. So we're able to enter a latent print into the database, the first joint of the fingers and the palms, and it will create a mathematical algorithm and bring back 10 candidates that the computer believes are close to this latent impression. The examiner then is able to...
Well, then let me stop you then. Are you telling me that the advantage of APHIS is speed?
Yes.
Because it can go through thousands upon thousands of fingerprints within a very short period of time, right?
Yes.
And if any of them are similar, then it spits it out, right?
Yes.
But as an examiner, that's not an identification, correct?
No, it's not.
Because then that's when the human person comes in, right?
Yes.
And then the human person does what with those candidates that have been spit out?
The examiner initially views the latent and the known impression on the screen one at a time and determines whether or not they have a hit. If a hit is declared, then a known exemplar, that known exemplar will be obtained by the examiner, and a one-to-one comparison will be performed between the latent and the known. The examiner is the one who does that final comparison.
In our talk today, one of the things that we keep referring to is that the fingerprints, and we've been talking about that. How about palms, for example? Are palms also unique to individuals, or is it a situation where the only comparison that can be done is involving the fingerprints?
No. The arrangement of skin on all the palmar surface of the hands is unique.
And so once let's say that you have, does this APHIS system also have the palm prints in it that can be used or not?
Yes, it does.
When you look at a fingerprint and you're doing this comparison, are you then also able to orient it and find out what part of the hand is involved, whether it's one of the fingers or in the palm? Can you do that?
It depends on the quality of the latent.
Well, let's assume it's a great quality, the best quality you ever had. Can you do it then?
In many cases, yes.
And if you have the palm, you can tell what part of the palm it is then, right?
If there's enough information in the palm, you can use those to help determine where the latent is from.
So in other words, are you saying that if you have a palm print, you cannot tell what part of the palm print it is, what part of the palm it is?
There are latent impressions that are palm prints that are very clear that you cannot tell necessarily where it originates from.
On the hand? On the
Yes,
palm?
correct.
But there are some that you can then, right?
Yes.
So that's part of what you do then, correct?
That is part,
Is
yes.
that done out at the scene or is that done somewhere else?
The entry of latents into APHIS and the comparison of prints is done in the lab.
And so that the gathering of these latent fingerprints, how is that done out at the scene?
A majority of the processing that we'll do at a scene in order to collect latent prints is done with powder and lift tape.
And the others, which indicates that there may be others, what are the other processes that are out there?
There is some chemical processing techniques that we can use at the scene, depending on the type of residue that we believe a latent impression may have been left in.
In this particular case, for example, was black powder the only method that was used at the scene to attempt to gather latent prints?
No, it was not.
Why don't you tell me what those other processes were in this case?
Leucocrystal violet.
And what is that?
That is a chemical that reacts to the heme in hemoglobin to stain a dark purplish blue color if it comes into contact with it.
And what is the advantage of that? What is the advantage of this leucocrystal violet?
Leucocrystal violet, or LCV, does not react with the regular constituents of fingerprint residue. So if there's an impression that I believe is left potentially in oils or fats or lipids, that sort of thing, I would not use leucocrystal violet. Leucocrystal violet would be used to search for potential impressions that are left in blood, for example.
So the value of leucocrystal violet is that the print may have been left in a medium other than, for example, sweat or oils or something like that, correct?
That's correct.
And in the way you sort of seem to say it, it's specifically designed when you believe that perhaps the print is left in blood.
That's correct.
In this case, also, again, as part of going to the scene, lifting fingerprints and that sort of thing, do you do anything with the evidence or items that are going to be taken back to the lab for future examination, whether they be latent fingerprints or whether they be anything else?
Yes, all items of evidentiary value are photographed and then collected by me, which are then in turn impounded into our evidence section.
It would seem to me, though, that if you have all these items of evidence out there and if you're just photographing them and collecting them, that you're not going to know where you found something. So, for example, if there's some shoes over there, there's a gun over there, how are you going to know which is which?
The way in which we will document evidence to be collected is it will be marked typically with an identifier, such as a number. We have what we call placards. They look like small plastic tents that have numbers on them. And we will typically put those next to an item of evidence, photograph it with that placard to document how it will be identified later.
That's with regard to items that you can take. What about if there's an item? One of the things that we've been talking about is latent fingerprints or blood smears, that sort of thing. How is it that, do you also put a number by those, or do you put a different sort of designation so that you know that what you have is something that you didn't take, but you took a sample of?
Certainly, in some cases, a different type of identifier will be used. In this case, I used letters for those things that were photographed that could not be collected directly.
Let me show you an exhibit. You recognize exhibit 249?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
That is a diagram of a portion of the scene that I responded to.
Which portion of the scene are we talking about?
It appears to be the master bedroom.
When you say
and
appears,
bathroom.
it sounds like you're not sure. Are you sure or are you not sure?
Yes, it is. It's the master bedroom, closet, and bathroom.
Is this a true and accurate depiction of the scene as it existed when you were there and you conducted your work?
Yes, it is.
And how long were you there conducting your work?
We spent over 3 days at the crime scene.
When you say we, it's sort of a royal thing. I'm not interested in what others may have done. How long were you at the scene? Because that's where it really is testifying.
3 days.
All right. And there were others that were there with you, correct?
Yes, there were.
Were there also technicians there with you?
Yes.
And who else would have been there with you assisting throughout this thing?
In what capacity?
In any capacity?
There were several detectives there at various times, officers. There was members of the biology unit of the Mesa Police Department and also another latent print examiner.
When you say the members of the biology unit, what do they concentrate on?
DNA evidence.
And in this particular case, you can see that there's a variety of numbers here, and there's also red areas and body and that sort of thing. Is this a true and accurate depiction of all the items that were at the scene at the time that you were there during those 3 days in June of 2008?
Yes.
I move for the admission of exhibit 249.
Moment, Your Honor.
None.
Exhibit 249 is admitted.
I think we may have already talked a little bit about this, but just your view of it. This area. She can see the drinks. The area there, where it says 44 and 24. Do you see that there?
Not from here, I apologize, I can't see that.
This area here, do you see it here?
Yes, I do.
What is that area? Tell me a little bit about that area there.
That is the two doors. Those are the two doors leading into the master bedroom. And those are numbers designating items of evidence that were collected from those doors.
With regard to the doors, did you check, anybody that you were supervising, did anybody check to see what type of lock that was involved in?
There is a photograph of that locking mechanism, and I have.
Okay. Now, after you walk in there and you take a look at this right here, what is this that's marked as 45? I mean, what are we looking at there?
45 is a piece of carpeting that was at the entry to the hallway leading to the master bathroom that had a large area of red staining on it that was collected.
And did you walk down that hallway?
Yes.
And as you walk down that hallway, where did it take you?
To the master bathroom.
And once in the master bathroom, where is the tub in comparison to the door as you walk in?
It would be to your left.
And is that where the body was found?
The body was found in the shower. That was to the left, yes.
And just to make it clear, they had both a bathtub and a shower, correct?
Yes.
Is the body found in the shower, I think is what you said, correct?
Yes.
All right, let's take a look at some footwear. Thanks, Steve. Take a look at exhibits 1 through 7 and see if you recognize what's depicted there. You recognize what's there?
Yes, I do.
And what areas do those photographs depict?
This depicts the entry and the front of the home that I responded to, the garage, and a portion of the laundry room of that scene.
Are those true and accurate depictions of those areas, again, as they were on the date that you responded and were there?
Yes, they are.
Remove for the admission of exhibits 1 through 7.
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibits 1 through 7 are admitted. So we're going to take a 5-minute recess. Actually, we'll make it a 10-minute recess. So ladies and gentlemen, be back in the designated area at 20 minutes till 3, and we will resume promptly at that time. Please remember the admonition. You are excused. FTR is not currently working. She's rebooting the computer, so we need to make sure it's working before we can proceed. Yes, you can take a recess. We are at recess. The record will show the presence of the jury, the defendant, and all counsel. You may proceed.
Heather Connor.
Let's take a look at exhibit number 1. Which I don't believe the monitors are on.
Yes, number 16. Can you move the diagram? Yes. The easel? Yes. Is that better?
What are we looking at here?
This is the front of the house.
And the exposure of the house, what direction is towards my pen this way?
North?
Okay, wouldn't it be that way, north, that way, rather than this way? Isn't this south? Let's continue looking at it, okay? Exhibit number 2. What is that?
That is another view of the front of the house showing the front door.
And it also shows a closer up of what?
The vehicles that are parked in the garage and driveway.
And how many are there?
3 total.
And exhibit number 3. What are we looking at there?
That is a photograph of the front door entry and the numbers of the residence.
And what's the address of the residence?
11428.
And what's the street?
Queensboro.
Exhibit number 4. What do we see there?
That is a photograph of the open garage door view into the garage and the 2 cars in that garage.
What kind of car is this, do you know?
A Toyota Prius.
Okay. And the color, given how glary this photograph is, what color was it when you were out there, do you know?
I believe it was black.
Okay. Exhibit number 5.
It's the rear of that Toyota Prius.
Okay. If you then look over here to the right, do you see what that is?
That is a doorway leading from the garage into the laundry room of the residence.
Then and this right here is what?
It appears to be a garage door opener.
Okay, and this right here?
I don't know what that is.
You familiar with light switches?
Yes,
Does that look like it could be a light switch?
it appears to be.
And then if we just shows us the rest of the garage and what's here, correct?
Yes.
And do you know what this is?
A bicycle?
Okay. Now, exhibit number 6 is what?
That is a view, a view of the laundry room that includes the washer and dryer that were inside that room.
And this door here, does that lead to?
That door leads to the garage.
And if we take a look at exhibit number 5, do you see this door here?
Yes, I do.
Are those one and the same doors?
They are.
Exhibit number 7 also shows us a door. Are you familiar with which door this one is?
I believe that is the same door we've been discussing from the laundry room to the garage.
When you say you believe, it sort of implies that you're not sure. Take a look at it. And then if we take a look at exhibit number 6, you see that same door?
Those are the same doors.
And is this then the door that leads out to the garage?
Yes, it is.
And what is this up here?
An alarm keypad of some kind.
Take a look at some more photographs. Take a look at exhibits 8 through 16. Do you recognize those photographs?
Yes, I do.
What do they depict?
These photographs depict the washing machine and the contents of that washing machine.
And again, were these photographs taken at the time of the investigation back in June of 2008 of this home?
Yes, they were.
I move for the admission of exhibits numbers 8 through 16.
No objection.
Exhibits 8 through 16 are admitted.
First of all, let's take a look at exhibit number 6. That's the one that we just talked about. And what is this right here?
That is a dryer.
And this right here?
Washing machine.
All right. Exhibit number 8 shows us what? What are we looking at here?
That is a reddish stain that was on top of the edge of the washing machine.
Exhibit number 9, what are we looking at there?
That is looking at the same area of the washing machine pulled back a little bit with some stickers to label and identify some stains seen on the washing machine.
Are these the reddish stains that you guys were looking at, or just stains generally?
Reddish brown stains.
There's a red number on there. Do you see that? I'm sorry, black. You see that?
Yes.
I thought in our previous discussion, we indicated that if it's something that you can't seize or that you take a swab from, that you actually would give it a letter. What's going on with these ones in black?
These particular stains were labeled by a member of the biology unit so that presumptive testing could be performed. I wasn't involved in these labels.
So in other words, these are labeled by somebody from the biology unit to see whether or not this was blood or something, right?
Correct.
Exhibit number 10 is a close-up of one of those ones, correct?
Yes, it is.
And if we bring it in a little bit closer, it has something to the side of it. You see that?
I do.
What is that?
The letter B.
So for example, then, if we go to the previous exhibit, there are two ones there. One would be either, well, we can look at it. We can see that they're labeled with letters also, correct?
This one is, yes.
And then if you take a look at the other one, doesn't seem to have a letter on there though, right?
It does not.
Exhibit number 11, what are we, let me give you a better view of that. What are we looking at there?
That is a photograph into the washing machine when the lid was lifted during the entry photos.
And there are some items in there, correct?
Yes, there are.
This is, no. Exhibit number 12. What are we looking at there?
That's a digital camera that was found inside of the washing machine.
And for the sake of completeness, is this the way the camera was at the time that you guys went into it and started taking photographs of it?
Yes, it was.
And you were there on what dates?
June 10th, 11th, and 12th, and it ran into the 13th on the 12th.
All right. Exhibit number 13. What are we seeing here?
That is another photograph of the contents of the washing machine, now with those evidence placards that I discussed to identify items that were going to be collected.
Right? 39 is what?
39 is all of the contents of the washing machine with the exception of the camera.
So this is all the clothing articles, and 38 is the camera.
That's correct.
And exhibit number 14? Is that just a different view of how the items are placed in there?
Yes, it is.
In just looking at this, and you were there, and that's the reason why I'm asking, it doesn't seem like this is a full load, does it?
Objection, counsel.
Overruled.
It didn't appear to be full, no.
Exhibit number 15, what are we looking at there?
That is a photograph of the camera after it's been removed from the washing machine and placed on butcher paper in order to take additional vantage viewpoints of that camera.
And exhibit number 16 is what?
A top view of the camera.
Let's take a look at exhibit number 14.
No, thank you. This is a digital camera.
And is this the digital camera that we see pictured in exhibit number 16?
May I refer to my report, Your Honor, in order to refresh my recollection?
Yes, you may.
Your Honor, just to refer to any documents
I agree. And take a look at Exhibit 276 and see if that helps you out.
Thank you. This is the same camera that is depicted in the was collected from inside the washing machine.
But inside of that plastic is something else beside the camera, right?
Yes.
Do you know what that is?
Looks like power cords of some kind.
Right, but as far as you're concerned, the only thing that was taken from that washing machine is the camera that's in that exhibit, correct?
Yes.
I may have it back. Judge, I would move to the addition of Exhibit 214, which is expensive of this power device, or maybe camera taken, or this power cord taken out.
No objection.
Right, Exhibit 214 is admitted, and it would be repackaged without the power cord.
Correct. Do you know whether or not there was what was known as a SIM card attached to this thing?
There was a memory card inside of the washing machine that was also collected.
Okay. Please take a look at exhibit number 215. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is it?
This is the memory card that was collected from inside the washing machine.
And you were the one that actually packaged it, I guess, correct?
When it was originally in the envelope, yes.
I move for the admission of exhibit 215.
No objection, Your Honor.
215 is admitted.
Let's take a look at this. Exhibit 215. And what we're actually looking at is this square or rectangular blue thing, correct?
Yes.
It's not. You know the dimensions of this? Or is it just very small?
It's small.
Let's take a look at exhibit number 220. You recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
This is what I labeled as a digital camera door that was found at the bottom of the washing machine and was collected.
Was this after the clothing had been removed?
Yes.
I move for the admission of exhibit number 220.
No objection, Your Honor.
220 is admitted.
And then this is the item that you collect right here, correct?
Yes, it is.
Let's take a look at exhibits. (17) through 25. You recognize what's in those photographs?
Yes, I do.
What do they show?
They show the items that were removed from the washing machine as item number 39 laid out. It also shows additional items of evidence that were identified to be collected with evidence placards and the contents of the dryer.
With regard to item 39, what was that?
That's all the clothing items that were in that washing machine.
Okay. I move for the admission of exhibits numbers 17 through 25.
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibits 17 through 25 are admitted.
Go ahead and take a look at these. Exhibit number 17. We see the placard 39. What is this up here?
It's a towel,
All right, and directly underneath it, what are those?
socks.
And to the left?
Those are also socks.
Okay. It does seem that, you see this part up here on the towel?
I do.
It does seem that the towel is a bit discolored, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Exhibit number 18, is that the same towel?
Yes, it is.
And it shows this other end here, right?
Yes.
What is this right here?
It's a t-shirt or a shirt of some kind.
Do you know what this is right here? I know the glare is bad, but
I don't recall specifically the particular clothing items that were contained.
and exhibit number 19. You know what these are right here?
Underwear?
And this?
Another shirt.
And these right here.
They appear to be shorts.
Take a look at Exhibit 216. You recognize it? Here.
They appear to be all those items in the photographs.
Here to be, scissors, why don't you go ahead, open it up. Take a look at what's in there and then tell me if this is in fact your item 39, okay?
Yes, this is item 39.
All right. I move for the admission of Exhibit 216.
No objection.
Exhibit 216 is admitted.
Let's take a look at it. Where do you want to put it? Does have some spots on there, right?
Yes, it does.
Are you familiar with what bleach is?
Yes, I am.
What is bleach?
It's a liquid that we use to clean our clean various things.
And do you know what bleach does to an item that has color to it?
It will take that color out and cause spotting.
With regard to the towel, is that consistent with bleach being added to the load?
Objection calls for speculation.
You may answer yes or no, overruled.
Yes.
All right. Take a look at that. All right. What is that?
A t-shirt?
Do you know what size it is on there? Take a look at it.
It's marked medium.
And does it also have some spotting there?
Yes, it does.
Let's see what else we have there. Those are the shorts or underwear.
Yes.
What else? All right, what else do we have? What are those?
Pair of shorts.
Let's see what else we have in that bag. What is that?
A t-shirt.
Okay. What else? Let's start with one sock. You have a blue sock in your left hand, right?
Yes.
Okay, next. What color sock is that?
Mostly gray.
Does it have any spotting on it?
Yes, it does.
All right. What else? Do we have? What is that?
A black sock.
Go ahead. Another sock?
Yes.
All right. What else? Is that a sock?
It is.
All right. Is that another sock?
Yes.
And?
Another sock.
And that's also another site, correct?
Yes, it is.
Are those all the articles of clothing made of?
No, they're not.
Okay, what else is there? What is that?
This is a pair of pants.
Are you familiar with the term sweatpants?
Yes.
Would that be what that is?
Yes.
What size are they? You can design for us.
They're marked men's large.
Anything else in that bag? And what is that?
A t-shirt,
And what's the size on that t-shirt?
large.
All right, try me have that item back. Let's take a look at another exhibit. It's exhibit number 20. And if we take a look at, first of all, exhibit 37, what is that? Or item 37, not exhibit 37, I apologize.
That is the memory card that was originally in the washing machine and then was collected as item 37.
And what was the color of that memory card?
From my recollection, it's blue.
Okay. And then we have some numbers here, 40 and 41. First of all, this appliance to the right is a what?
That's a dryer.
And now we have a close-up, exhibit 21, of those items as in relation to the dryer, correct?
Yes.
And what is item 40?
40 is a piece of duct tape that was found on the floor in the laundry room.
And exhibit 22 shows us a close-up of that, right?
Yes.
Exhibit 23 is the SIM card that we've been talking about, right?
Yes, it is.
And exhibit 24 is a close-up of that, right?
Yes.
Now, exhibit 25 are a bunch of items, right?
Yes, it is.
And they were in the dryer. Do you know what was in the dryer?
Bedding items.
Do you have the exhibit up there that will tell you what was in there?
Yes, I do. I have it labeled as bedding items.
All right, let's take a look at exhibit 36 through, 28. I apologize, 28 through, well, let's do it this way, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 26. Recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
Those are photographs of the items from inside the dryer, as well as a photograph of them inside the dryer.
And are these true and accurate depictions of those items back when the investigation was conducted in June of 2008?
Yes, they are.
I move for the admission of exhibits numbers 26 through 30.
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibits 26 through 30 are admitted.
Take a look at exhibit 26. What are we looking at there?
That is a view of the contents of the dryer and the items that were going to be collected as item 41.
Exhibit number 27, what are we looking at here?
That is a overall photograph of all of the contents of 40 of the dryer that were to be collected as 41 laid out, separated.
And exhibit 28. What are we looking at here?
A portion of the contents of the dryer.
I'm sorry, 29?
Those are additional contents of the dryer.
And finally, number 30, what is that?
That is also something removed from the dryer.
Take a look at exhibit number 212. May want to just maybe like a front, back to something.
Yes, I recognize this.
What is it?
This is the, all the contents of the dryer as collected as item 41, I believe.
Take a look. It is item 40.
Excuse me, it is item 41.
Okay. Do you need more gloves to open it and get into that?
If we're going to pull them out, I would like some additional gloves, please. Would you like me to cut this open entirely?
Just enough so that we can pull the items out at the same. What is that?
A pillowcase?
All right, what else do we got?
Is it all right to lay them directly on the desk as I pull them out, or would you like them put back in the bag?
If you feel comfortable, put them on the seat of the chair. How about that?
All right.
And what is that?
A pillowcase?
All right, next. And that?
It's another pillowcase.
That is what?
A towel.
Okay. What are those?
A pair of pants.
Do they have a size on them?
Yes, they do.
Okay. What size is that?
Size large.
Next. What is that?
An additional pillowcase.
And that?
It's another pillowcase.
Is that the last item in there?
No, it's not.
All right, what is that?
This is a bed covering of some sort with buttons. So,
And what else is in that exhibits? What is that?
a fitted sheet.
Anything else? What is that?
A flat sheet.
And that.
Another pillowcase.
And I believe that's all that you have in there, correct?
Yes, it is.
I'm putting everything there. Ma'am, let me show you exhibits 31 through 46. And you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What do you got there?
These are photographs of a portion of the downstairs of the house to include the laundry room, office, and downstairs bathroom, as well as items inside those rooms.
And are these true and accurate depictions of the scene as it existed back then in June of 2008?
Yes, they are.
Move to the exhibit of exhibits 31 through 46.
Exhibits 31 through 46 are admitted.
Start with Exhibit 31. And what are we looking at here?
That is another view of the laundry room from the vantage point of the doorway leading into the garage, into the corner.
What is this door here? Is this door leading to the garage, or is that the door leading somewhere else?
That door leads into the house, further into the house.
And Exhibit 32, what is this?
That is the view into the laundry room through that doorway that we've just discussed.
Where is the doorway leading to the garage in this photograph?
If you were to enter through that doorway, it would be to your right.
Okay. 33. This area here, what is this back here?
That's the laundry room.
And what's to the left here, do you know?
There is a closet and a doorway leading to an office space.
And to the right here, what's there?
A bathroom.
Do you know what this item is here? If you know.
It looks like a punching apparatus of some kind.
Exhibit 34, first of all, in the corner here, what is this right here?
That's the doorway leading from the house into the laundry room.
And this right here?
That is the entryway into the office space.
Exhibit 35. First of all, we look, what is this right here?
The laundry room.
And here?
The office space.
Exhibit number 36. What is that?
That's the view of the office space from the doorway.
Exhibit 37 is what?
A different view in the office space from a different corner of the room.
Exhibit number 38. What are we looking at there?
That is the desk in the office space, and there are items marked with evidence placards in that photograph.
This up here, what is that up here? Do you see that white item there?
It's a closet door.
Exhibit 39. What do we see here?
That is a photograph of the item that was collected as item 35LB, and it's a check.
Take a look at exhibit number 222. Recognize it?
Yes.
What is it?
This is the box, including the check that was collected as item 35.
Okay. Move for the admission of exhibit 222.
No objection.
Exhibit 222 is admitted.
Take a look at that. First of all, what is the date on it?
5/25/08.
And what's the amount of the check?
200.
And who's the person, what's the account? What's the name holder on the account?
Jodi Arias.
It does have an address. Can you read that address or not?
I can.
What is it?
9634 East Nido Avenue, NIDO, Mesa, Arizona 85209, 2243.
And the person that it's made out to?
Travis Alexander,
And what's the amount of the check? I think you already,
200 cents.
and what is it for? Can you see what that's for?
The notes section indicates car payments - April and May 2008.
And is it signed? Yes or no?
Yes.
Exhibit number 40 is what? What are we looking at here?
That's an additional view of a different corner of the office space from a different vantage point.
Exhibit 41, what do we see here?
That's the final corner of the office space, and you're seeing the entry doorway from where the photographer is standing.
If we were to take a right, where would we be headed towards?
Out of the door,
Right.
you'd be headed towards the living area and kitchen if you went to the right.
If we were to go left, where would we be going?
The laundry room.
Exhibit number 42 is what?
That's a photograph of the downstairs bathroom from the doorway.
Is that straight across from that door that we just saw?
Essentially straight across, maybe a bit to the left and across.
And exhibit 43 shows us what?
Another view of the inside of that downstairs bathroom.
Exhibit 44, what are we looking at there?
That is a labeled stain that was tested by our biology unit.
And that has a number 3 by there, right?
Yes.
Exhibit 45 is what?
That's a view of a stain, a reddish brown stain inside of the sink in that downstairs bathroom that was tested by the biology unit.
And exhibit 46 shows us what?
That's a close-up of the stain from inside the sink of the downstairs bathroom.
Let's take a look at exhibits 47 through 61. Where are they?
These are photographs of the remainder of the house, the downstairs portion of the house, the staircase leading to the loft upstairs, and the stairway itself.
And again, are these true and accurate depictions of when you were out at the scene back in June of 2008?
Yes, they are.
Move for the admission of exhibits 47 through 61.
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibits 47 through 61 are admitted.
Here is exhibit 47. Okay, what are we looking at here?
That's a view of the dining room, living room area, and the hallway that led down to the office space, laundry room, and downstairs bathroom in the far portion of the photograph.
And what is this right here?
That's that punching apparatus that was in near that hallway.
Number 48?
That's a view of the front door from that dining room, living room area.
Where's the laundry room door from here?
It would be to my left, where your pen is leading. Yes, that direction.
And I guess we'll ask about this 48. What is this right here?
A floor cleaner of some kind.
$49?
That's a view of the entry room and the front door.
And what are these items here, do you know?
They're metal grids of materials that are linked together by those round pieces.
Okay. Exhibit number 50 is what?
You're seeing a view of the kitchen from the area that had the couches near the dining area.
Okay, and what's this right here?
That's the staircase.
Exhibit 51, do we see that same staircase?
Yes.
Is that right there?
Yes, it is.
Exhibit 52. What are we looking at there?
That's a view from the hallway that you would enter from the front door, looking into the dining, kitchen, living area, and the beginning of the staircase.
And these things right here, what are those?
Those metal grids similar to what was shown in that entry area.
But those are not aligned in any way, right? In other words, they're not put up.
No.
Exhibit 53. Now what are we looking at?
You're seeing a view down the hallway towards the laundry room, office space, bathroom, as well as a portion of the staircase to show their relationship to each other.
And this is the staircase right here?
Yes, it is.
Exhibit 54. Shows us what?
That is a view of the staircase and what you see from the bottom of the staircase.
Exhibit 55 is what?
A view from about halfway up the stairs, slightly more perhaps.
Exhibit 56 is,
That is showing a small possible fiber piece of fabric that was collected as an item of evidence.
exhibit number 57. That is what?
That's a close-up of that item that was identified as an item of evidence and collected later on.
Now number 58. What are we looking at here?
That is a view from a corner of the loft that is at the top of the staircase. It's showing the area where the staircase ends and the entry into the master bedroom.
And is this the master bedroom door?
Yes.
Exhibit number 59.
That is showing a black bag that was identified as an item of evidence to be collected in the loft.
Are you familiar with exhibit number 231?
Yes, I am.
What is it?
This is the item that I collected as item number 24LB. It's the doorknob from the right door of the master bedroom double doors.
Okay. I move for the admission of exhibit number 231.
The objection.
None, Your Honor.
Consideration is submitted.
Take a look at this exhibit and describe the locking and unlocking mechanisms of this door appliance.
The unlocking mechanism is a key hole.
Okay?
The locking mechanism is a flat piece that's turned.
Which one was on the inside and which one was on the outside of that door?
The inside was the locking mechanism, which has the flat piece that turns, and the exterior doorknob was the one that has the unlocking key mechanism on it.
So in order to get into that room, if it had been locked from the inside, would a person need a key?
Yes.
And in order to lock it, if you were inside, would a person need a key or would they just need to turn the knob or the item there?
A key would not be necessary.
So does that mean that the person could just turn the little knob there or bump or whatever and close it from the inside and lock it?
Yes.
In exhibit 231, the item that we're looking at here, is that the inside or the outside?
It was the interior doorknob.
And you were talking about turning, this is what you would turn, correct?
Yes.
To lock it. And this portion of it right here, is that the inside or the outside?
That was the exterior side of the doorknob.
And that's the one that would require the key, correct?
Yes.
Exhibit number 60 is what? What are we looking at there?
That is a closer view of that black bag from the loft that was collected as item 31LB.
And exhibit 61? What is that?
That's a view of the contents of that black bag.
Take a look at exhibit 213. Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
This is the black camera bag that was collected as item 31LB.
All right. with the admission of exhibit number 213.
No objection.
213 is admitted.
You want gloves for this or not?
I'd prefer gloves, yes.
I'll get them for you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Maximum openings.
Sure. And open it out. What is it that we have to sign? Open it. There's a strap.
A lens attachment of some kind. That appears to be everything.
All right. Here's the back. Let's take a look at exhibits 62 through 72. You recognize those?
Yes, I do.
What are they?
These are photographs of the entry into the master bedroom itself, the master bedroom closet, and a portion of the bathroom in the master bedroom.
I move for the admission of exhibits number 62 through 72.
Council exhibits 63, 64, and 68 have already been admitted.
That's correct. That's what we were talking about.
Yes, sir. No objection to those photos previously not admitted being admitted.
All right, 62 through 72 will be admitted.
Let's take a look at photograph, which is number 62. And what are we looking at here?
That is the view into the master bedroom from the doorway.
And we've taken a look at the lock or the door handle, haven't we, before?
Yes, we have.
Exhibit number 65 shows us what?
A view of the bedroom, the master bedroom,
And specifically what?
the bed, and one of the sides of the bedroom.
In this one, we see that the bedding, if you will, is crumpled up on the bed. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Is that the way the bed was found when you
Yeah.
were there?
That was how it appeared when I was there, yes.
66 shows us what?
That's another view of the bed from the opposite side and more of the bedroom itself.
And what is this right here?
That is a doorway leading, one of the doorways in the master bedroom closet.
So where does it lead to? Is there more than 2 doors from the bedroom going into the bedroom closet?
No, that's the doorway from the bedroom to the closet.
All right. Exhibit 67, what are we looking at there?
That is a view from inside the master bedroom of that doorway from the bedroom to the closet, the entryway to the hallway that leads down to the bathroom, and the door into the master bedroom.
Exhibit 69 shows us what?
That is a view of the interior of the master bedroom closet from that doorway from the bedroom into the closet.
And what is this right here?
That is a doorway leading from the master bedroom closet into the master bathroom.
While you were there, did you notice whether or not there was any blood in this area here in the master bedroom closet?
I did not see any blood in that area or
And-
red staining.
And if it had been there and marked, would you have photographed it?
What was the objection?
It's outside her scope.
Overruled. You may answer.
Can you please repeat the
If
question?
if there was a stain that was marked there, would you have photographed it?
Yes,
And were you the person that actually looked for these stains or not?
I was not.
Okay. But you would have photographed anything that was marked there, correct?
Yes.
Number 70. What do we see here?
That's a deeper view into the closet from that same vantage point, showing some of the contents.
And this right here?
That is the doorway leading into the master bathroom from the closet.
And if we look down here, what is this area here?
Carpeting inside the closet,
Okay, and this right here?
that's tile in the bathroom.
Exhibit 71, if we start at the top, what are we looking at here?
That is a view into the master bathroom from the doorway in the closet leading into the bathroom.
And this right here is what?
Carpeting,
And right here?
tile,
And then if we go back here, what is this area here?
the vanity and sinks from within the master bathroom.
And this right here, what is that?
A door for a linen closet inside the master bathroom.
And this hallway that we've been talking about, take a look at exhibit number 67, told us about this hallway here. We take a look at exhibit number 71, where would the hallway be in relationship to this door, the sink?
It's to the right.
So it would be right down this way.
That's correct.
Exhibit 72, starting here, what is this right here?
That is the door and doorway that is leading to the master bedroom closet.
And this right here is what?
A portion of that hallway we've discussed.
That what? I didn't hear you. I didn't
The
catch.
hallway that we've discussed.
Oh, okay. And this right here is what?
The door for the linen closet that's in the master bathroom.
Where does this hallway lead?
To the master bedroom.
And if we take a look at exhibit number 67, is this what you're talking about, the hallway that we just discussed?
Yes, it is.
And this right here is?
The bathtub in the bathroom.
And right here.
That's the shower.
And this?
That's the victim inside of the shower.
And this greenish, bluish?
I believe it's a robe.
Take a look at exhibits 76. Through 80, 82. Through 87. What are they?
These are photographs of the victim, additional photographs of the bathroom, and some items from inside the bathroom.
And again, were they as they existed back in June of 2008?
Yes.
Move for the admission of exhibits 77 through 80, 82 through 87.
No objections, Your Honor.
Exhibits 77 through 87 are admitted. These. Exhibit number 76. What are we looking at there?
That's a photograph of the victim inside of the shower and a plastic cup that was found in the shower with the victim.
Take a look at exhibit 230. recognize it?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
This is that plastic cup from inside the shower.
It looks kind of black or dark. Is that mold or what is that?
This item was processed in the laboratory for latent prints.
And you indicated that there was a couple of processes that could be used, one of them being powder and the other one being leucocrystal violet, correct?
Those were types of processing that we do at a scene.
Right.
Yes.
But in this one, powder was used, right?
This item was brought back to the laboratory and was processed with a variety of different things.
And were any results obtained?
I may refer to my report. No latent prints were developed on the plastic cup.
One of the things that you told us was that there were environmental factors that would affect whether or not an individual leaves a latent fingerprint. Do you remember we discussed that earlier?
Yes, I do.
With regard to water, if water is run on an item, will that affect the ability to later obtain a latent fingerprint?
It can, yes.
Why?
In some cases, if water is run over a surface, it may obscure that latent impression that was left behind. It could wash away the residue or something of that nature.
And how about if the person is turning the cup as they're doing whatever it is they're doing with it? Would that also affect whether or not they might leave behind a usable latent fingerprint?
How an item is handled will always affect whether or not a latent print is left behind or not.
I move for the admission of exhibit.
No objection.
230 is admitted.
Exhibit number 77, what are we looking at?
It's a lower view of the victim inside of the shower stall.
And what is this right here? Is that the wall, I guess is what I'm saying?
Yes, it's the wall of the shower stall.
And this is his right foot, correct?
Yes, it is.
Is that touching that wall?
Yes, it is.
How about the left knee? Is that also touching the wall?
Yes.
And if we look over here to the right, what portion of his anatomy is that?
It's his right knee.
Is that touching the wall also?
It looks like it is. I don't know specifically if it is or not.
If we go back to exhibit number 76, his head, correct?
Yes, it is.
Is that up against the portion of the shower there?
Yes, it is.
Now, exhibit 78, we're starting to see, first of all, the victim's body here, correct?
That is the victim inside the shower stall, yes.
And 2, 3, and 4, what are we looking at there?
Those were some hair and fiber-like materials that were found around the shower stall that were designated to be collected as items of evidence.
And exhibit number 79, we're also looking at this area here, right?
2 is actually just indicating the hairs that you see here on the floor.
Right.
But you can see the red staining in this photograph.
And this is, what is this, the trim right here?
Baseboard trim of some kind, yes.
And there's also some staining up here, correct?
Yes.
And there's also staining here.
Yes.
Exhibit number 80 is what?
That's a fiber-like material that was found on the floor in the bathroom that was collected as item number 3LB.
And exhibit number 82, we're now looking at what?
You can see a small portion of the shower stall with the victim inside, the bathtub, and a doorway leading into what I called the toilet room. The toilet's contained in that room. There's a door, and then a portion of the bathroom to the right side of the photograph.
What's this right here?
It's a towel.
Take a look at exhibit number 228, see if you recognize it.
Yes, I recognize it.
What is it?
This is that same towel from the master bathroom.
Was there one or two towels there?
I believe there's only one.
When you say you believe, it means you're not sure. Why don't you go ahead and open it and take a look at it and make sure.
Okay. It's a single towel.
Why don't you hold it up for us? What's the exhibit number on it, please? It's the green tag.
228.
I move for the admission of exhibit 228.
228 is admitted.
Why don't you take a look at the label there on there and then see what it says. You could read that for us.
It says Bianca, Bianca concept by Mundo Textile, MUNDOTEXTIL, all one word.
All right. Put it back in. This is the towel that you previously looked at, and it's from exhibit number 216 from the washer. Do you remember talking about that?
Yes, I do.
Why don't you read the label on this one for me?
It's labeled Bianca concept by Mundo Textile.
Do at least the labels, are they from, do the labels match? How about that?
Yes, they do.
Right. And if we hold these two up, I'll hold this one here, and you hold the other one up. They seem to be a little bit different in shades, correct?
Yes, they do.
And also one is spotted and one is not, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Exhibit 83 shows us, first of all, what is this right here?
That's the victim inside of the shower stall.
And this is the
bathrobe.
And this right here?
Some staining or some material that was seen on the wall by the shower stall.
Exhibit number 84, we're looking at what?
That is a view of the bathtub inside the master bathroom.
And this room was what again?
I called it the toilet room. It's the room that contained the toilet in the bathroom.
And what is this right here?
That is red staining, reddish brown staining that was seen on the wall
And
or door jamb.
I may have to show you the photograph because of the glare on this one. You know what this is down here? If you want, I'll bring the photograph up there.
That's a bath mat.
Okay. This right here, that's the bath mat, right?
Yes, it is.
Number 85, what are we looking at there?
That's another view of the same bath mat that we discussed.
And this right here on the left, what is that?
That is the door jamb of the entry into the toilet room with the red staining that we saw in the previous photograph.
And this right here is what?
More staining,
And down here on the ground is?
more reddish brown substance.
And this right here?
It's also a reddish brown stain.
On the mat, correct?
Correct.
And this right here is what right there?
Additional staining.
The towels that we looked at, where are they in relationship to this staining right here where I'm pointing to?
The towel that is in front of me is directly above, maybe slightly further back from that. It's hanging from that wall in the photograph.
Exhibit 86. What are we looking at here?
That's a view of some of the staining on the walls and tile floor of the master bathroom, showing the entry into the toilet room, and you can see more of the bathroom itself.
And this up here?
That's this towel here.
Exhibit 87 is what?
That's a more mid-range close-up view of the reddish staining that's on the door jamb and some of the floor leading into the toilet room.
You see that right back there?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
More reddish brown staining that was on the bottom pedestal of the toilet.
Okay. I'll show you exhibits 88 through 116. Let's take a look at those. You recognize what's in these photographs?
Yes, I do.
What do they show?
Those are photographs of the master bathroom, including staining, shows the sink area and the interior of the linen closet that's also in the bathroom.
Are they true and accurate depictions of the scene when you worked on it back in June of 2008?
Yes, they are.
Look for the addition of exhibits 88 through 160.
Objection, Your Honor.
Exhibits 88 through 116 are admitted.
Start with 88, and we are looking at what here?
That's a view of the toilet inside of the room, the toilet room.
89, we're looking at what now?
That's showing the reddish staining that's on the pedestal of that toilet.
And that would be right there?
Yes, it is.
Number 90 is what?
A closer view of those stains.
And these are it right here, correct?
Yes, they are.
91 is, what is this here?
This is showing staining on both the tile floor and the wall. You can see the entry to the toilet room on the left side of the photograph, and that's the wall that would be along the side of the toilet room that we've seen in other photographs.
And this is this the wall where the towel is?
Yes.
And this is the staining that you're talking about?
Yes, that's correct.
And is this also a stain here on the left?
Yes, it is.
92, if we go to the upper right, what do we see up here?
That's this towel.
And
point.
93 is what?
That is a view of one of the corners of the bathroom from around the area where the shower stall would be, from that direction to the corner of the bathroom.
And what is this right here?
The sinks within the bathroom.
94 shows us what?
Some of the floor in that master bathroom, the walls, the reddish staining, and 2 scales that were inside that bathroom.
95?
That is a mid-range photograph of one of the scales with placard number 15, because that item was collected as 15LB by me.
And number 96?
That depicts the scale and also what was beyond the vanity in the bathroom containing the sink. So you can see a trash can and some staining near that scale.
And is this staining here too or not?
I don't recall.
97 is what?
That is a view of the vanity and sinks in the master bathroom.
And you found this was open when you were there, correct?
To the best of my recollection, yes.
98, what are we looking at here?
That is reddish brown staining and reddish brown substance that was inside and on top of the sink in the master bathroom.
'99 is what? What are we looking at here?
That's another view of the right side sink in the master bathroom with the staining. There's also scales in the photograph that were placed in order to do additional documentation photographs of that staining within the mirror and sink areas.
And 100 is what?
Another view of the same staining with the scales for reference.
And it also shows us the edge here, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And it does have red, does it have red staining on it?
Yes, it does.
There is something here on the upper left. What is that?
That is a letter marker D to indicate which area was photographed.
And exhibit 101 shows us what?
A closer view of the staining that would be within that D area or quadrant.
$102?
That's an overhead view of the sink on the right side and the staining within on top of the sink and countertop.
This looks like a wipe pattern. Are you familiar with like wiping or not?
I don't do blood spatter
Okay.
interpretation.
$103 shows us what now?
A closer view of some of the staining on the sink.
That's actually inside the sink with the outlet valve there, right?
That's correct. It was both inside the sink and on top of the sink.
$104. What are we looking at there?
That's another overhead view of the staining on the sink and the vanity top with some scales and letter and number designators.
This bottle that's here, do you see whether or not it has any staining on it? Can you tell?
I see staining around it. I'm not sure if there's any on the bottle.
Take a look at exhibit 104 with your eyes.
Okay. It appears that there's staining on the bottle, yes.
The bottle is not knocked over, right?
No, it's not.
And 105, we're looking at these patterns, whatever they may be, on a different portion of the sink, right?
Yes.
In terms of coloring, these on the left look a lot darker than the ones on the right, correct?
Yes, they do.
106 now, it's over to more to the right, and we see that staining there, correct?
Yes.
$107 is what?
That's a photograph of the staining on the sink from a different viewpoint. Shows the edge of the sink and some of the spatter inside of the sink running down.
Right here is what we're
Yes.
looking at. 108 is?
That is a photograph of the staining that I designated D1. That area was swabbed and collected as a sample.
And 109, what is this right here?
That is the linen closet or closet that's in the master bathroom.
And this right here? See this right here?
That's red staining substance that's on the tile in the bathroom.
I want you to look at this box, and there you go. Can you see that box there?
Yes, I can.
Do you see this right here on the bottom of that box?
Yes, I do.
I know we can look at it, but you were there. Can you describe it any better than what our eyes are looking at?
It was a light gradient of red staining running up the box, what appeared to be running up the box.
And in front of it is this red, larger stain.
Yes.
And were these also stains here?
Yes, they are.
And while I have this of course is What's this white thing here?
That's the door to that closet
Right.
in the master bathroom.
Do you know what this is right here?
Yes, I do.
I'm gonna bring it in a little bit. What is that?
That is a cartridge casing that was found on the floor in the master bathroom.
And did you seize that cartridge?
Yes, I
case?
did.
I want you to take a look at exhibit number 216. What is it?
That's the cartridge casing that I collected as number 1 LB.
I move for the admission of exhibit number 218.
No objection.
216, 18 is admitted.
When you packaged it, did you notice the caliber of it? Write down the caliber of it or not?
I documented what was written on the head stamp of the cartridge casing, yes.
And what was written on the head stamp of this cartridge casing?
WIN 25 Auto.
Do you know what WIN stands for? It may not be your area.
It's not my area.
Do you know what the 25 stands for?
I believe it's the caliber, but I don't work in
That's
firearms.
not your area. Okay. Let's look a little bit at a wider view of this. That's the casing. And then we've looked at this area here. I'm going to pan out a little bit more. And what is this right here?
That's the cartridge casing.
And this up here is,
The right side sink.
exhibit number 110 shows us what?
That's a closer view of the cartridge casing on the bathroom floor.
And it also shows us that there's what? You see this right up here?
There's red staining and red substance all over the floor as well.
And exhibit 111 shows us,
A closer view of the cartridge casing.
and this right here is just some red staining, correct?
Yes.
It may be stating the obvious, but I'm going to ask you, to the naked eye, your eye, and you were there, is there any staining on the top of this casing that's in this red stain?
Not that I see.
See that?
It's a little blurry, but I still don't see any red staining on the top.
Exhibit number 112. Now what are we looking at here? Starting with this corner here, what is that?
That's the sink, or a portion of the sink pedestal.
And this down here is,
That's the cartridge casing, and it's photographed with evidence placard number 1.
and up here,
That's a towel.
and down here,
That's the hallway that leads from the master bedroom to the master bathroom or vice versa.
and right here.
That is the doorway leading from the bathroom into the closet.
Exhibit 113 is the staining and what?
A view, a mid-range view of item number 1, LB, with placard 1.
And it shows some staining there also, right?
It does.
114 is the placard and a close-up of the casing, correct?
Yes, it is.
Exhibit number 115 shows us the box, right?
Correct.
And then it shows us the items in the closet. Number 11, what is number 11?
It's a USB thumb drive that was a Targus brand that was collected from inside that closet.
A what now?
A USB storage device,
Okay.
thumb drive.
That was what number was that?
That was 11.
And what was number 10 then?
It's a prepaid legal services business card.
Okay. And now 116, what are we looking at here?
That is red substance staining that's on the floor in the master bathroom and hallway to the master bathroom.
And now are we headed into the master bathroom and bedroom now?
You're heading down the hallway towards the master bedroom and that to the
Okay.
right.
Great, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take the weekend recess. You may step down, please return January 8th at 10:30. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there will be no trial tomorrow, Friday, no trial Monday, the 7th. You should also return on Tuesday, January 8th at 10:30. I know every day I ask you to follow the admonition. Page 13 of your preliminary instructions contains that admonition. Since we are about to recess for the weekend, I want to remind you of your obligations. It is your duty not to speak with or permit yourselves to be addressed by any person on any subject connected with this trial. If someone should try to talk to you about the case, stop him or her or walk away. If you should overhear others talking about the case, stop them or walk away. If anything like this does happen, report it to me or any member of my staff as soon as you can. You may not discuss the evidence among yourselves until you retire to deliberate on your verdict. Do not form any final opinions about any fact or about the outcome of the case until you have heard and considered all of the evidence, the closing arguments, and the rest of the instructions I will give you on the law. Keep an open mind during the trial. Form your final opinions only after you have had an opportunity to discuss the case with each other in the jury room at the end of the trial. All right, one more time, has anyone had any exposure to the media regarding this case? Anyone at all? I see no hands. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We will see you on Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. Have a nice weekend.